Chris Scalzo here with
Matt Howell. And this week on the first run, Chris and I catch up with the latest art house fare from Neon with Cuckoo. Chris is making weird faces at me.
It wasn't you. My microphone shrieked really loud, and I didn't know if I muted it in time or not, but I guess I did. So
You did, because I didn't hear it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Anyway, we're going to watch a film called Cuckoo, starring Hunter Schafer and maybe my sweetheart, if not America's sweetheart, Dan Stevens.
Whoa,
and
careful.
And we're going to ask the question, is it ever too arty? Is arty ever too much? And I think you could, yeah, I think you know where I'm going to come down onto when can a thing still be good if it makes absolutely no sense. Then we're going to talk about
out of the gate. Yeah, I think so. All right.
As typical, we'll go over the big releases on physical media. We'll give you our Viper video and streaming picks of the week. And then we pull back into the archives and pull out one of our favorite games, Call It, where we give each other impossible choices and we have to make them for your listening pleasure. So please, Chris, let's get this over with. End this introduction. And the introduction, yeah. And play us a little bit of Cuckoo.
It is one of the more painful ones we've done. So, yeah. Okay.
Do you smell this?
Yes.
Or are those molecules binding to a receptor in your nasal cavity?
Got me.
And are you, right now, in this moment, are you putting your slashed skin back together yourself? And what makes you think you can take charge of the rest? If I were you, I would stay home until my body was done growing back those cells. I wouldn't want to get hurt even more.
I would not either. Matt, I started to watch The Guest the other day, Wingard's film with Dan Stevens. I think it was my first experience with Monsieur Dan Stevens, and I remember really liking that film and particularly really loving Stevenson. I didn't get to. I think I got like 10 minutes in, and then I had to go. Something came up, and I definitely want to try and finish it over the weekend. But I wanted to get a little Dan Stevens love here after watching Cuckoo. So, all right, I guess you have to ask me a question.
Yeah. So, what is Cuckoo all about, Chris?
So, Hunter Schafer plays a young woman named Gretchen, and I just pulled something in my neck, going for that pronunciation of Gretchen. Wow, that's how old I am now. I'm pulling muscles, just speaking.
While making a joke that most people won't be able to see on a podcast. That's very dangerous.
Gretchen. So her mom's passed away. And her dad has gotten this great job of kind of designing this new hotel resort type place. So they go to Germany to, do that. Her dad has a new wife. They have what is she, like 5, 6? What's she coming in at? I don't know.
Yeah, I think she's about 6 years old.
I don't have any kids, so I don't know. The kid could be 1. She could be 30. I can't really judge children. So she's dealing with the loss of her mom, her dad's new family, maybe I don't know, adversarial relationship with her sister. She's just generally unhappy, right? And her younger sister doesn't talk. There's some kind of traumatic thing going on with her as well. And she's dealing with her own inner trauma. And they go stay at this little place there while they're going to work on the design of the resort. And then things go crazy, man. They go crazy. There's like a woman stalking them in the woods. And Dan Stevens is the guy who runs the resort, and he's maybe up to something, and maybe he's part of it. I don't know, Matt. So let me ask you, Matt, how much ambiguity is too much ambiguity?
Well, I think we may have answered that question with this. Now, I don't know if it's the ambiguity that's the problem with this film, right?
Okay.
I think you need surprises, you need shocks with a horror film. Mm-hmm. Obviously, when you have a thing that's built on the suspense of the mystery, that is okay, right?
Yep.
I think you wanted to...
Maybe you don't want everything explained to you. You don't want everything kind of laid out to you, right? Maybe there's a little bit of mystery, a little bit of, you don't know what's happening. It can add to the suspense of a film. Keeps you off balance.
Right. That's true. That is true. And I think some people will say, I don't know if I always agree with them, but sometimes I do, that doesn't necessarily have to have a good explanation, right? It doesn't all have to be explained to you, right? But what I do think is very important, that I have to feel like somebody involved in this film, whether it's the director, the writer, somebody knows what they're talking about. Like, they are not just making stuff up, even if they're only keeping it to themselves, that there is like a deeper explanation if they're just not going to reveal it. And this smacks of, this guy had an idea, he wrote it down, he made a movie of it, but he never really bothered because he felt it was unimportant to actually have a full idea of how this thing works and like what all this means. And even if he doesn't say it to us, by the simple fact that I'm convinced that he doesn't know, he doesn't even lay enough clues in the film for you to make your own conclusions.
Yeah. When I walked out of this thing, I felt like I'm missing some key information, right? And the problem, I just think that unfortunately that Tillman Singer, who's the director of this film, he also wrote it, by keeping things kind of mysterious and ambiguous, I'm missing something. I understand that there, I guess, is I don't know if this is a spoiler, there's a species of things, I won't get into it too much, out there, and we have a person who's kind of helping them continue their species, and there's not some great kind of, this is not an eco horror film or anything like that. We're not making some big grand statement about kind of climate change or anything. I think there's some interesting ideas, which I think is a phrase I may have to retire, that I use a lot on this show when I talk about films that I don't know quite work, but there's still things I like about them. Like that Gretchen is... So when the monster attacks, it disorients you and kind of puts you in a weird time loop. And the idea, potentially, that the family, particularly Gretchen, is stuck. Right? She's stuck because she can't get over the loss of her mom and the apparent abandonment she feels by her father and her family. All right, that's an interesting idea. But there's lots of disparate ideas that never meld into a cohesive whole for me. Right? So, and we never really get any satisfying answers for any of it. Are there a bunch of these things out there? Is it like one or two? I don't know how important that is, but everything just is always kind of just out of grasp. And the problem is Singer doesn't really provide us, like Matt said, any kind of textual kind of roadmap for us to figure out what's kind of happening here. I mean, there's the basic plot points and stuff for a general idea of a story arc, but we're just missing stuff. And it just feels woefully underdeveloped to me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there is, I think it looks good. Mm-hmm. It definitely sets a mood. It definitely has some creepy sequences. Even the idea of the quote unquote creature, when you see it, is, pretty effective at times, right? But I think this whole undertaking is just sunk by the fact that it's a half-baked story, right? And if it has deeper meanings, which I question if it really even does, there's no breadcrumbs for you to follow. There's nothing for you to really interpret.
Because of birds and breadcrumbs.
Right. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Making a metaphor, not even realizing. Yeah, so overall, like Chris says, there are things about this that I like. I like Dan Stevens. He doesn't disappoint. I have yet to see him in anything that I didn't enjoy his performance in. It's got some creepy shots. It's got some suspenseful sections and scenes. It looks pretty good in some parts, but overall, there's just not enough there. It seems paper thin, which is weird to say for something that's so hinged on the fact that there's so much ambiguity in it.
Yeah, I think I agree, and I think Stevens and Schaefer are both very good in this. I think that Stevens knows the movie he thinks. Well, I think he thinks the movie he's making.
Sure,
because he's very sinister, yet there's a playfulness and almost over the top kind of delivery of some of his lines. Where it's funny because he's very sly and subtle with a lot of this stuff. But in his eyes, there's also like a level of kind of madness behind them at all times that I really kind of appreciated that he pulls off. And then Schaefer as well, as the young woman who is dealing with this loss, brought to this new country, leaving her friends behind, her band behind, all these different things. And she just desperately misses her mother. And as a young woman who is lost, stuck in a strange land, while this kind of potential madness kind of falls around her, I found her quite engaging. I will also say, I think the film definitely takes advantage of its European feel. What I mean by that is, it has okay, let me reset that. It borrows from a couple different classic horror films for sure. It has this desaturated palette, which I don't know. Granted, it's not the first time this has happened, but it always jumps out at me. If we're going to a resort in the woods after a long drive with a desaturated palette, just The Shining pops in my head. So it has the aesthetics of The Shining, but also some late kind of classic 70s and 80s European horror films. There's an Argento-esque touch, not like the Bava Argento with the bright colors. I mean more, particularly, I would say the bright red blood. There's a couple scenes where the blood color really jumps off the page, or off the screen, I should say. And it instantly brought me that. And I think maybe that part of it is colored because I just watched Blood and Black Lace a couple days ago, which very much had that also kind of very crimson red blood. But it definitely feels like he's trying to recreate that classic 70s European horror. And I would say I think Singer's very successful at that. It's just that the aesthetics aren't enough. And even the performances aren't enough. Just like Matt said, I don't care how you drape her as well in bright blue and red. I don't know if it's supposed to invoke like the feeling of a bird, or just a way as another homage to the Giallos that I kind of maybe think he's hinting around the entire time as well. I don't know. But we do have some issues, like Matt said, just with the development of the story itself. And there's a couple other questions, too, that I think we could have explored that we didn't. Like, is the dad in on it? I wondered that when I'm walking out of the film. And is that how her mom died? Did something happen with... I mean, is she potentially one of these things?
I think that's implied. And I don't think the dad is necessarily in on it, but obviously something happened to where where he was impacted by this thing. He's encountered it before, but I don't think he remembers. Mm-hmm. That's my take on it anyway.
Fair enough. Matt, because of Dan Stevens, Hunter Schafer, the color palette, the aesthetics, I'm giving Cuckoo a C+.
Wow, you know what? For all the same reasons, I am giving it a C+ as well. And let me ask you this, Chris, just a little bit off topic, but not really. Mm-hmm. Is Dan Stevens becoming one of our favorite character actors?
I think so. I mean, he made Godzilla Kong New Empire more than tolerable. I mean, we got lots of stuff blown up, which is really what you're there for. But whenever I see Dan, he elevates everything he's in. So I think so.
Yeah. It's strange because he's better looking than your average character actor. Mm-hmm. But he seems to really lean into the weird roles, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to finish The Guest once we're done recording this show now. And keep watching that. I didn't realize too, as I said, I'm like 10 minutes in. The score in that thing, I forgot how much I love the score because of course it's like 80s synth. So of course I'm gonna be all in on that. Mm-hmm. Where are we? Is that it? Cuckoo,
That's
C+,
it.
Everybody good?
Yeah, everybody's good.
Currently available in a theater near you. If you had a chance to see it, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, let's spend a few minutes to talk about what's coming up on physical media this upcoming Tuesday, August 20th. I will say, I don't have it near me, do you? Do I? Do you? You don't have it near you either. I got my Furiosa today, and I was very, very excited about that. Well, only one. They had one 4K at Target. One. Yep, 3 Blu-rays, 1 4K. I stopped off at Walmart first because it was on my way. Nope, there was actually, you know what it was? They had everything boxed up still, and I went through some of the boxes looking for it, and some woman comes up, she goes, "Excuse me," and I'm like, "Oh, do you have Furiosa 4K?" And then she said, "Oh, I'll look," and then she disappeared. Then helped somebody else, and I'm like, you know what? I'm out of here, and I left because I had to go to Target anyway. Oh, I got to tell you that Target had a repackage. Let's save it for the physical media. I'll tell you about this because it was very upsetting.
I think we should get back together.
Why?
What?
Why? Give me one good reason why. No, you know what? Screw that. No, Mike, my answer is no.
No. You mean you don't want me to take you back? Because I'm serious about this, Amanda. You should really think about this.
Think about what, Mike? That you're a childish, self-centered asshole? Mike, take me back, please. Look, you're drunk, okay? And we're over, so why don't you just walk away now and save yourself the embarrassment?
Oh, yeah? Yeah, well, you're the one, Amanda, who's gonna be embarrassed. Who's gonna want you now?
Somebody.
Jennifer Love Hewitt, Matt. Peter Facinelli. Is it Facinelli?
I have no idea.
The guy from Twilight. Other stuff. Can't hardly wait. Being released in 4K this upcoming Tuesday. A lot of people love that film, especially the are they millennials? Zoomers? No, not Zoomers. Millennials? Late Gen X? Late? No, because I'm Gen X. I think I'm on the cusp of being a Gen. You're Gen X, right?
I'm the last year of Gen X, and I do like that movie. Zennial. I think probably early
98
millennials, late Gen Xers are fans.
I thought millennials were born in 2000. Were they all born though prior to that?
No. Millennials were born from like 1980 to I don't know, like 1995. It means they came of age during the turn of the millennium.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm old. 90 what? Millennials were born between 1981 and 1996.
Oh, okay. So I was off by a year.
That's what ScienceDirect.com says. Seems reliable to me. It's on the internet.
Has to be real.
Like Abraham Lincoln said, never believe everything you see on the internet. Where are we? Oh, okay. I'm at Target. Repackage, $13, 4K, Red Dragon. It's a Brett Ratner film. I get that. I haven't watched it in a very long time. I've been wanting to revisit it. We talked about it. I think it's because we talked about it the other week on the show. And I'm like, $13, 4K. This thing's like never cheaper than like $25, even like on a Kino Lorber sale. So I pick it up. I go home. I rip that baby open it up. DVD is inside that son of a bitch. Somebody ordered it probably from Target, bought it, pulled out the 4K and the Blu-ray,
sure,
put a DVD in it, probably went back and said, "Yo, case is cracked. It's scratched.
Yeah,
I'm going to return this." So they just repackaged it up and put it back on the shelf. Didn't even notice.
Wow.
Very upsetting. There's a lot of bad people out there, is what I'm saying.
But see, that's why most places, it's been a long time since I've tried to return media, but most places, once you've opened it, all you can do is return it for the exact same thing you already got.
Yeah.
But I guess then you could just get it, go to a different Target. Now you've got a sealed one and just be like, oh, can I return this?
Yeah, I guess so. They didn't give me any problem with it. I showed it to them. I said, listen, it says 4K, it says Blu-ray, open it up, DVD. Right? So... Now, wow, I mean, I'm trustworthy. I'm glad they didn't think it was me that did it. So, well, they know it was repackaged. It said it right there on the sticker.
Right.
You don't like people. People are bad. Matt, let's get down to business. This is serious stuff. We got a lot to do.
Number 5.
All right, listen. If you're a Steelbook fan, August 20th is for you. Now, these are all Walmart Steelbooks coming out. I know this is going to be in anticipation of the upcoming Halloween holiday that happens, I believe, in October. But you can get Evil Dead, Hannibal Rising, Wolf Creek, Sinister, You're Next, Joker, Texas Chainsaw, Leatherface, I Spit in Your Grave, 2010, and Return of the Living Dead. These are all kind of Blu-rays or 4Ks. I think most of them are Blues except for Return of the Living Dead, which actually is a 4K disc. So those are all going to be Walmart exclusive Steelbooks. And then other Steelbooks that are coming out. Dracula and Frankenstein, the OGs. Beetlejuice as well. All 3 of those are 4K Steelbooks. I'm holding up 3 fingers as I'm saying the word 4K. Because there's 3 movies. That's probably why my brain did that. So good. I ordered that Nightmare on Elm Street 4K Steelbook too, because it looks so cool.
Yeah, so Chris, this is gonna break your heart a little bit, but I'm in one of those stages I go through every few years where I look around at my house and I look at all the stuff I have and I'm like, do I really need all this shit? Mm-hmm. Should I just start downsizing it? Should I start going through stuff? Which means I'm gonna be like, stop buying stuff. I mean, I'll pick it up again in like, a year or two, just like I always do. But now I'm at the like condensing phase. Like I'm in the ebbing tide as opposed to coming in.
Friend of the show, Jeff Rousseau. I'm saying that because he did an appearance on Screen Run and in the transitive properties of Screen Run to the first run.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Yeah, definitely.
He curates.
Mm-hmm.
He goes through and gets rid of stuff.
Yeah.
I only do that if I've upgraded it to a new format. I struggle with that. I've thought about it, but I struggle with that. Now I just can further condense into other stuff. It's basically what I do. But I've thought about it. Speaking of stuff that I might buy. Death to Smoochie is being released on Blu-ray by Shout Factory. 2K restoration from the Inner Positive. New interviews with the actor Danny Woodburn, composer David Newman, and the costume designer Jane Room. We got an audio commentary, behind-the-scenes featurette, extended and deleted scenes, and bloopers and outtakes. I remember seeing this in the theater. This film was supposed to be like one of the big comedies of the year and absolutely bombed. It's a very kind of dark black comedy. And I've wanted to revisit it for a long time. I'm wondering if... Because I thought I liked it when it came out. Though it features a really bad performance by Jon Stewart. I think it's the film that stopped him acting. But it's Robin Williams is maniacal in this film. I think is why I appreciate it. In fact, stay tuned for the stinger this week for a little taste of that. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on Death to Smooch? Do you remember anything about it?
Yeah, so I've never seen it. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I've never seen it. It's one of those things I'm meant to catch up on to see if as bad as its reputation was, but never caught up with it.
Yeah, well, now's your big chance.
Can you hit it from there?
I got 3 shots. That's enough.
Can't argue with a confident man.
Criterion is putting out Not a Pretty Picture. This is Martha Coolidge's compelling meta-narrative. It examines her own sexual assault in high school by a fellow classmate. Coolidge enlists actors to recreate the circumstances surrounding her rape and interviews her former roommate to illuminate the consequences and complexities of its aftermath. Brand new 4K restoration approved by Coolidge. An interview with Coolidge conducted by filmmaker Allison Anders, and a documentary by Coolidge about her grandmother called Old Fashioned Woman from 1974. What's up? Matt, I remember watching this as a film as a kid, and my sister really liked it, though I think she thought it was kind of scary too, but it has one of the more indelible images from my childhood.
That's a number 2.
And that's The Last Unicorn, Matt, is being released by Shout Factory. You can get it in Blu-ray, I believe in 4K as well. There's a steelbook coming out from Walmart. And there's a new profile about the director exclusive to the Blu-ray, as well as some other featurettes. Matt, do you remember Last Unicorn? Did you ever see it?
Oh, hell yeah. I'm a big champion of The Last Unicorn. It was one that I really enjoyed. It's a Rankin and Bass joint, and I thought the creature design for the Red Bull, which is a bull made of fire, is badass.
See, you're going to buy it? So have you already broken
I might buy it.
There you go. See, we already broke them, folks.
See, you did. You son of a bitch.
Sony is putting out the China Syndrome on Blu-ray as well, the classic film with, I'm blanking now, Michael Douglas, I think it's Faye Dunaway, and Jack Lemmon? I can't remember now. Who's the third guy? It's been a long time since I've seen the China Syndrome. Probably not since I was a kid. Other films being released in 4K, Let Him Go, Red Eye, Prime Cut, and we talked about Can't Hardly Wait. Matt, I did not grab a Viper Video Pick of the Week, so why don't you start us off with a streaming pick of the week while I panic? Because I had a great idea for a couple things. Matt shot down one of them, and then we're going to do the other one in a bit, and we'll see how that goes. But go ahead, Matt. What do you got for us?
All right, so I think we talked about it last week a little bit, as I think it came out on physical media, but The Bike Riders, starring Tom Hardy and Austin Butler, about the kind of fictionalized version about the beginning of the Outlaws motorcycle gang in the 1950s, is available for your viewing pleasure on Peacock. I have seen it. It's a pretty entertaining film, and it's kind of puts the idea of the whole biker film kind of on its head, and the kind of romanticism around things like, Easy Rider and things like that.
Nice. And it was Jack Lemmon. How do you like that? I nailed that one at least. So I'm going to go with Wolf Hollow, which you can pick up or order through Viper Video, Tampa.com. Wolf Hollow. Matt, it's about a group of filmmakers on a location scout. They stumble across a den of werewolves. Felissa Rose stars in it, though, which is why I wanted to bring it up. Of course, from Slumber Camp. I'll get there. Sleepover Camp. One of my more preferred favorite 80s horror films. Sleepaway Camp. Sweet Christ.
You'll get there.
Sleepaway Camp. It is Sleepaway Camp, right?
Yeah.
At this point, I have absolutely no idea. I have the DVD set of that came out years and years and years ago, where it's the first 3 films on DVD and then the unfinished 4th film, like whatever they shot. Mm-hmm. But it's the Red Cross logo box, which they got sued and had to stop making.
Okay. Because
the Red Cross was like, "Whoa, you can't. No, we don't want that." So, good times.
Good times.
All right, that segment painfully petered out. Let's go ahead then and wrap up the show with a round of Call It. What is it, Matt?
Come on. Just, they're not all winners, man.
No, they're not.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, they're not. I had to go to the dentist today, and not great. Not great. I got to get a tooth pulled. Wisdom tooth got to come out, and then
that's the tooth that's got to get pulled. Is the wisdom tooth or a real tooth?
Like a wisdom tooth has to come out.
Gotcha.
It was a cleaning, but it was also X-rays, and they're like, "Oh, sure. You know what? It might be time for that bad bear to go."
Oof. I heard that's not easy after your teens, so good luck, my friend.
Yep, fingers crossed. All right, let's close it up.
Well, I guess that just about covers everything, doesn't it? I never married. I don't see much of the old college gang. I'm a retired detective, and you're on the shipbuilding business. Now, what's in your mind, Gavin?
I asked you to come up here, Scotty, knowing that you'd quit detective work. But I wondered whether you'd go back on the job as a special favor to me. I want you to follow my wife. No, it's not that. We're very happily married.
Well, then...
I'm afraid some harm may come to her.
From whom?
Someone dead.
Ooh. That's right, folks. That's a clip from Vertigo. That popped in my head because I was texting with my brother-in-law, and he was telling me that he's on a Bernard Herrmann riff right now, and he's listening to a bunch of his scores. And I'm like, oh, I do. I'm like, you have to listen to Vertigo if you haven't. Because of course I have. But I absolutely adore the score for Vertigo. So that's your first one, Matt. Vertigo or Rear Window? Which Jimmy Stewart, Alfred Hitchcock classic are you going to ditch?
Oh, boy. I really love Vertigo, but I think I'm going to have to keep Rear Window.
It's more accessible, and it's an easier watch, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
But the sheer artistry and the score and just the layers of Vertigo, I'm probably going to stick with Vertigo, I think.
All right. Fair enough. I mean, it's not really... I mean, it's, a 1A, 1A answer kind of thing, right? Like, which one of these classic films are you going to keep?
Yeah. So there you go. What do you got?
Spoiler alert, for a film that everybody in the world has seen, apparently. But in Deadpool and Wolverine, we get first-run favorite Channing Tatum as Gambit. And he has... I guess it's gone over so well that Ryan Reynolds is helping him push to get a Gambit film. And He's talked to Kevin Feige about it. Now, whether this actually happens or not, I'm very suspect. But let's just play the game here, right?
Okay.
So, next Channing Tatum movie. Would you rather have a Gambit movie or a 23 Jump Street?
Oh, that's interesting. It depends. Are they going to do like a serious action movie Gambit, or is he going to have that really bad kind of Louisiana French, whatever it is, accent that he has in the film, and they just play it up for laughs? The problem is you're not going to be able to understand half the things he says.
Yeah, I don't...
About to make a name for myself, right?
I don't think if they're basing it on fan reaction from Deadpool, I don't think you could have... I almost feel like if they make it, it'll be like a 21 Jump Street version of the X-Men. Like, I don't know who his little partner will be, but it'll be something like that.
I'm going to go Gambit. We already had 2 21 Jump Street films. Both of them are pretty good. I mean, and I'm not losing the originals because we would lose the Tatum line. The whole thing would go away.
Right.
We're just not going to get a 23 Jump Street, which
right.
I'm good. I think 2 is good. That's a good number.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'd rather see a Gambit film, and I don't even know are Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum on good terms at this point?
I don't know. There's that weird stuff that happened during the pandemic with Hill. I can't remember what it was, where he ended up like blaming his partner for stuff from his I don't know. Some weird stuff happened. Yeah, I can't remember what. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. I can give him a call.
Please do.
All right, I'll report back. I'll reach out.
Thank you.
I'll ring a ding ding. Matt, what's the better, or I guess choose one, Dan Stevens' performance? Him in The Guest, or as Alexander Lumtov from Eurovision Song Contest, where he plays the Russian singer?
Oh boy. I need to go watch Eurovision again because I think I like it. I think it's one of those films I'm going to really like on repeated viewings, but I think I got to go with The Guest because it's it's a more serious performance, but at the same time, it's just really good and shows you what he can really do. He's not just like a funny guy.
Yeah, no, it was David Collins, I think, in that. I agree with you. I think The Guest is the way to go, though I still think he probably is the standout of Eurovision. The Story of Fire. I can't remember what the band's name is.
I forget what it is too. Yeah, all I can remember is Ya Ding Dong, and I have that hidden. I have that hidden in my my likes list. That's like thousands of songs long. It's in there somewhere, and Daylight from Community. And every 6 months or so, it'll just pop up and be like, yes, there it is.
Yeah, I think The Guest is the way to go for that one. It's just such a sinister, slimy, it's so cool kind of performance. So there you go.
All right. So I was reading an article, and I guess Matt Damon said that he's glad he's not Ben Affleck. He's glad he doesn't have the kind of focus that his friend has, and he doesn't think that he could live like that the way Ben Affleck has been forced to. So let's really just kind of lay it out there.
Ooh.
Chris, Matt Damon or Ben Affleck?
All right, that's not an easy question. That's not I'm just going to go and choose one. I need to look at some oeuvres here. I need to look at a filmography. So here's Ben. There's Benny, and then let's go Matt Damon. No, I don't want to quote the South Park guys. I don't think they deserve that at this point. All right, here we go. Are we ready? All right, now we're not going to start with like Field of Dreams and School Ties and stuff where he's barely in it, right?
No.
So what does Damon break out? Is it Courage Under Fire? Is it?
I think he really breaks out, and it seems weird because it feels like this.
Good Will Hunting.
Rainmaker
is his first starring role. Is the Rainmaker.
Yeah, but I think he really breaks out in Good Will Hunting, and I think is that before or after Talented Mr. Ripley? Because it could be either one of those.
Ripley is 2 years later.
Yeah, so it's definitely Good Will Hunting is when he breaks out.
Private Ryan. Ocean's 11, he's a lot of fun in. That's not enough. It's of course, you have all the Bourne films.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, too, about Damon. He's like the king of the cameo appearance.
Right.
He started popping up and stuff then. What was it, Euro Trip? And then he just started showing up and stuff all the time. Yeah. I also really enjoy The Informant. I watched that like a year ago or two. The Departed. Boy, Bourne films. I didn't care for Green Zone. I did not like Hereafter at all. True Grit is LaBeouf. He's really good in that. But then, I mean, The Martian, Manchester by the Sea. He's only a producer. He's not in that. Yeah, he's just a producer. He's in Deadpool too. He plays. He says he's redneck number 1.
Okay.
I'll have to look into that. I know he's in Ocean's 8, but he had a cameo that got cut. Ford vs Ferrari, The Last Duel. Here's the thing. All right. It depends on what you're looking for. Damon is just workmanlike, right? Solid performances, always engaging. Affleck takes bigger swings.
Right. He's in The Last Duel too, and you loved him in The Last Duel.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Is that him in The Last Duel? He for me almost makes that film.
Mm-hmm.
Shannon Hamilton and Mallrats. They're both in Dogma, which of course I love.
Chasing Amy, your once favorite movie.
At one point in my life, back in my comic book days. Jersey Girl, Clerks 2, he's got a cameo in. But then he got like Smoking Ace. I haven't watched it in a long time. Maybe I should. The Town, Argo. He's Batman.
Yeah.
The Accountant is not a film I like. People like that film. Gone Girl is really good in, I think. In Gone Girl. You know what? Yeah. I'm going Ben.
Are you?
Filmography. I don't. Yeah. But if I had to choose a life to lead, I'm with Damon. I'm choosing Matt Damon's life.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not choosing which one we're gonna choose for purposes. Although, if you choose Ben Affleck's life, you marry Jennifer Garner. You date J-Lo. You
marry J-Lo twice.
You
divorce her twice.
Don't you date Anna de Armas as well?
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
that's right. You do.
Mm-hmm. Now, granted, you have a hideous Phoenix tattoo all over your back, but
yes, you do. Yes, I do.
Honestly, I think I go Affleck as well. I think if you look at Damon, I think overall, I enjoy his movies as a whole from beginning to end more than I like Affleck's. But like you said, when Affleck takes a swing and he makes something that's really good, it's really pretty freaking good. So, and you kind of get the whole idea of him as a director as well, which I don't think he's necessarily excellent, but he's got some good stuff in there as well.
Yeah. 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 All right. Affleck right. It is. Man, when that started, this part started, I really thought I was going to end up on Damon. I really did. Mm-hmm. But I talked myself out of it. Okay, here we go. Here's the new part of the segment. I'm going to go over to my wall, Matt. I'm going to pick 2 films, and then you're going to have to choose. All right?
Okay.
We'll have to see. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Let's go. Yeah.
I'm going to close my eyes.
Okay.
This is part of some of my 4Ks. I'm not even looking. I'm going to probably knock something over. See what that is. We'll look down here. What are you? Well, that's big. All right, let's grab that. They're both really big. That much I know.
All right.
All right, what do we come up with?
All right, well, something like one of my favorite movies of all time, and then something I'm lukewarm on.
John Wick 3?
Uh-huh.
2001.
Well, I really do love John Wick 3, but I'm going to have to go with 2001, one of the greatest science fiction films of all time.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I think 2001 is the way to go.
Mm-hmm. So what you should do, if you really want to, if you get bored in all your free time that you have, you should like have a number, and you say, okay, Matt, pick 2 numbers, and I'll just pick 2 numbers, and then you just tell me what they are.
Well, I have to have something. I'd have to put everything like on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, I know. You love spreadsheets?
I do have a Blu-ray.com account, and in there I have probably 80% of my collection is in there.
Okay.
So I think you can do an export of your collection. And
Okay.
I'll do that, and we'll do that next time. That'll be fun.
Okay.
Cool. Can I do an export?
Awesome.
I think so. Copy
I think you can. You
collection.
should be able to like download it as a CSV and then put it into, a spreadsheet.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, we'll do that.
Okay. All right. So, speaking of online accounts, I was stalking Chris's letterbox. I wanted to see what he had out there, and I was disappointed
It's been
that
like 2 weeks since I updated it again.
yeah, and he hasn't really put in a lot of his back catalog. He really hasn't gone through and put a lot of that stuff in. But I did look at his favorites, so we're gonna do a rapid fire thing to end here. So first up, The Thing or Drive.
That is not fair. It has to be The Thing, but that is not fair. I don't like that at all.
Okay, well, we're not done yet. So now The Thing moves on to round 2. The Thing or Rope?
It's going to be The Thing.
Still.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I think we get harder. I think he's going to have to really think about this. The Thing or Casablanca?
Yeah, see, that's... In the end, I think it's going to be The Thing because I'm a horror guy at heart.
Mm-hmm.
And Casablanca brings up lots of emotions for me that sometimes I don't like to deal with.
Sure.
So when it comes to just pure rewatch value, I think it would be The Thing in the end. Would be number one there.
Interesting.
You got the score as well. Yeah.
And then I guess one that's not on here.
Mm-hmm.
That's not on your list of favorites. Your 4 favorites that you have listed.
I know. I got to update this damn thing.
The Thing or It's a Wonderful Life?
Same.
Really?
I'm a horror guy at heart. Yeah.
All right. I was not. If I had thought that it was going to be that easy for you to just choose The Thing, I would not have picked The Thing first.
Okay. You know what, Matt? I will work on that over the next week. I could do an export. I don't want to keep giving myself homework.
Well, here's the thing.
I watched Hundreds of Beavers, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. Possibly one of my favorite films of the year. If you have a chance to see Hundreds of Beavers, people, check it out.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I don't know how it works, because you've had an account for a little while, but I know when you start an account, it says here, pick out movies you like, and it just presents them one to you, one after the other, and you can say, yes, I like this, I like that, I like that, and you can just rate them while you're just doing something like watching TV or listening to music.
Can I do that now though?
I don't know.
All right. I can try and Google that. I mean, there's Popular This Week, there's Popular with Friends, there's New from Friends, there's, I don't know. Activity Incoming? I don't know what the heck any of this is. Yeah, I have no idea. Good times.
Good times. Had by all.
All right, what's yours? Let me look at you. Where are you? Where are my friends on this thing? I'm on the app version, which is, I'm sure, making things difficult.
So if you go to your profile and at the bottom's following and followers.
That's it. I don't even know if Matt follows me. Probably not.
I do.
Obviously, that's how you did this, right? There you go.
Yep.
All right, where's Matt's favorites? Let's see. Do you even have favorites?
I don't know. Does it?
I don't see you having any favorites on here. I just see activity.
Oh, okay.
What the
Maybe
hell,
I never.
bro?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely logged 1,500 films, so I know that I've got ones that are ranked 5. But maybe I didn't mark some as these are my favorites.
Well,
I'll have to go do that.
You're want to see. You have Vertigo on here, so I'm assuming you've watched it since then.
Yeah.
Before Sunset? Come on, bro. Throne of Blood? I love Throne of Blood. Passive Glory, it's great. Wait a minute. You gotta update this list. You haven't seen Rise of Skywalker yet?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've updated this list, yeah.
I know you've seen it. All right. That's fine. That's good. I think we beat this segment to death. Anything else?
No, let's talk about what's coming up next week after you ask people to give their feedback.
What decisions would you... Oh, this is another one I wrote down. Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead?
Night of the Living Dead. Night of the Living Dead is the text of zombie films.
But Dawn of the Dead isn't technically usually considered the better film.
I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Night of the Living Dead is... There's just something about it that is just timeless. It'll always be at least creepy and scary. Whereas Dawn of the Dead is a better film, but it's also kind of hokier and of its time. Whereas I think Night of the Living Dead is timeless.
All right. Yeah, I think I agree with you. All right, Flyboy. I think that makes sense. Shoot us an email, feedback@thefirstrun.com. What decisions would you make? We'll have to do that. I'll do that export list. So when we play Call It Again, we'll be able to do it that way. And I will work on updating my Letterboxd. Matt, what's coming up next week on The Big Shoe?
Ooh, it's a doozy. We're catching up with Alien Romulus, whereas Chris has to do it for 2 shows. Count them, 2 shows. But I'm excited. Early buzz, which you can never rely on, but I hear good things.
We'll have to see.
Good things.
And tentatively, we're going to do our 5 favorite Alien franchise scenes. So any 5 favorite scenes from the entire run.
Cool. So 5 scenes from Aliens, got it. Or 4 scenes from Aliens, and then 1 from Alien.
I don't think that's going to be the case for me, but that's fine. In the meantime, you can check us out at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Is that everything? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? Yep, that's it. Shoot us, yeah, fine. There, scroll, look for us. What is it? Type in The First Run, search. Scroll. Eventually you'll find us. Head over to Apple Podcasts, give us a review. It'll help other people find the show. And I guess that's it. Is that good? That's good. I think that's good. So we're going to go ahead, take an extended break, and we love you all very much. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next week with Alien Romulus.
Hello.
You better grow eyes in the back of your fucking head, you horned piece of shit, because I'm not gonna sleep until worms are crawling up your foam rubber ass. I'm going on safari, motherfucker. Safari.
Gee whiz. What a day.